anything like this. Trapped in a giant cube and forced to compete to the death in twisted children's games, this movie has zero chill. Putting your strength, intelligence, and sanity to the test with a trick around every corner, what do you do? This will have you reasoning with utter madness, as I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the twisted games in As the Gods Will. It's a normal school day, until the teacher's head explodes into bloody marbles, and a Japanese Daruma doll pops out of his stomach. Inside the class, he wants to play a game. Daruma dolls are a common symbol for good luck in Japan, but safe to say this one is the lucky kind. This Daruma doll here starts the game and turns around as these two kids roughly exit, and their heads explode into blows too. This particular death doll just exploded. You'll have to use a little bit of imagination. The doll tells them the rules of the game. This is red light, green light, the nightmare version. Usually, this is just a children's game where you have to speak up with the leader in the front and tag them before they turn around and see. In this version, they have to push the button at the back of the doll without being seen before time runs out. And if he turns around and sees you moving, their head will explode. Okay, this is fucking insane. But if you're only thinking about why this is happening, you're going to lose the game. We need to be thinking about how to keep our heads and beat this thing before the time runs out. If we're free to move around when he's not looking, we need to maximize this time to gather information and develop a team strategy as much as possible. This hero tries to rush forward to push the button, but doesn't make it in time, as the Daruma doll turns his head and catches it moving. Being a hero won't work here, but if we move as a group and each take one step at a time in unison, our chance to survive will increase. Some people will mess up, but with each step, we'll get closer to achieving the goal. Next, we can walk his side. Once we're all closer, I toss my jacket over its head, aiming to cover the doll's eyes just as it turns around. But with that, I'll have a better chance of touching the button without getting killed. In a situation like this, every piece of information is useful for survival, and we need to think about what this doll's limitations are. He has no neck, so even if he can turn himself around, he doesn't appear to have the physical ability to look downwards beyond his peripheral vision. So if it's me, I'd consider clawing the floor and sneaking up to him below the desk. If I can hide below his eye level until he turns around again, I could quickly reach the button without getting caught. Now, I would actually do this myself because it's way too risky, but I would advertise it to his schoolmates as a strategy and encourage others to test the idea. There's only 2 people left standing with 35 seconds remaining, but the kid's friend has an idea. He tells Shun here to use him as a springboard to fall over all these dead bodies, and with less than 10 seconds left, the kid rushes forward. He jumps off his friend's back and makes it to the Daruma doll, pressing the button with 1 second remaining. What a badass way to win the game, but there's no time to celebrate, because this kid's head explodes, and we learn a simple fact. In this case, there can only be one winner. The Daruma doll explains the student who presses the button is the only one who gets to live, and then warns him that he's a mouse, and that the cat is coming. This means that there are more horrifying games we have to go through, but we can relax them. Considering all these dead students saved my life by making enough mistakes for me to learn from, I'm rooting for other students from the other classes to try banding together. The more bodies there are between me and the next death game, the lower the probability that I'm dying right away and I can figure out how to keep myself alive. That's when the kid's childhood friend Ichikan opens the door. He finds out that she was in a Daruma doll game as well, and she wanted just like him. He uses his momentary freedom to call the police, but finds out he's not in a service area. Okay, this is the time to find a way out and to plan ahead. I would take this opportunity to explore all escape options. Even if we find out there's no way to escape, we can focus on beating the games. It's clear that other games are coming, as the Daruma doll said. So I'm going to take my time carefully investigating my surroundings, gathering useful resources for whatever might come next. Things to throw, pencil cases, rulers, scissors, or even textbooks. They continue running until they reach the gymnasium, where they see a bunch of other students wearing mice costumes. The door suddenly shuts up behind them, and now they're locked in. This is their next game, and as the writing on the floor explains, the objective is to put a bell on a cat. The class president orders them to put on the mice costumes, but they don't, and this hesitation will pay off later. The floor opens up, and a giant Anakin Echo statue rises up. This is yet another symbol of good luck in Japan that's going to bring the students in the exact opposite. The goal, to put the giant bell in the cat's basket holder without getting eaten. Okay, whoever designed these challenges are complete psychopaths. We're told to get into a mouse costume, and personally, I would wish to put one on, because I'd be scared of punishment for not following the rules. But immediately, it means a mouse, with those still in their school uniforms, are left alone. So there's more to this than it seems. As long as there are mice to chase, it's applied to the students who are still wearing uniforms. If the mice costumes are optional, then this must be considered a variable in our strategy to defeat it. So I would take off my mouse costume immediately and take a step back to safely assess the pieces of the game. This color is about 20 feet high, double the height of a regular basketball. Unless you're doing perfect and nailing impossible shots, the likelihood of a regular student getting the shot off is extremely low, and it would take too many attempts to even consider as a viable option. With the cat running us over and swiping at us, it's too dangerous to make multiple attempts to throw the bell in its face. It also has a string along its back that could be grabbed if you pick up it. My solution is to climb it for a dunk or a layup. Whenever it eats a mouse, it pauses, and that's our best chance of this. You can wrap the bell in your shirt and tie around your back like a sling. Now when a classmate gets eaten, climb off the cap to the bell sling, and work your way around the collar to go for the dunk. One of the students is the basketball team's MVP, and as the girl passes the bell over to him, the student makes the free throw, but the bell is caught by the cat, who throws it right back at the basketball player. They've just lost their MVP, and now it can use its hands. Things just got way worse. They realize the cat is only eating mice, and they finally take off their mouse costumes, putting an end to the most dangerous cosplay event ever. But with no more mice to eat, it starts going for humans. Now this is where we need to get a little creative with our team. If there's too many mice, more people will be eaten. And if the cat has only one mouse to chase, and you're stuck in a mouse costume with the undivided attention of a giant game cat, I would make everyone wear only the mouse legs and fold the top of the costume down. That way everyone can rotate wearing the mouse costume depending on where the cat is in the room. And when it needs to be distracted somewhere else, by simply throwing on the top of the costume like a jacket, we can effectively appear and disappear to the cat as needed. Work together to get the bell in the basket and avoid getting hit. Sean here takes one for the team and puts on a mouse costume, and after getting seriously cat hit, he realizes he can hear it complain about its itchy back. He finds out so long as he's wearing this hood, he can understand what it's saying. I didn't expect this, but we can't be too surprised. A cat that likes mice, of course, likes to be scratched. It probably also likes catnip, tearing couch sofas, and licks itself inappropriately in front of guests. We need to think of this thing not just as a monster, but with everything we know about cat behavior. They also love chasing lights and lasers, and if any one of them had a laser, they could distract the cat away from the mice. Now that's obviously a joke, but if you're not doing everything you can use what you know against this thing to keep yourself alive, then you're already losing the game.
I'm a huge fan of MMORPG games, so when Stellar Arcana wanted to sponsor this video, I was stoked. Stellar Arcana is a open world MMORPG made specific.
He climbs up the cat and begins to scratch its back. With the help of the other students, they all work together until it finally goes to sleep. Shun here is about to put an end to this game, but one of the students questions if there can only be one winner, like the first game. This is a valid point, but there's enough objective logic here to infer the answer. In the children's game, red light, green light, there can only be one winner. Whoever reaches the end first, and everyone else is eliminated from the game. Basketball, however, is a team sport, and when one person scores, the team benefits. This is enough to convince me to surrender the shot is somewhat more skill. If someone was insistent on shooting and skilled enough to take the shot, I'd put my ego aside and let them have the bell. We don't have time to argue, and it's important to get the job done quickly without interference. Their argument for shooting privileges wakes up the cat who rips two students apart. They don't have time to put it back to sleep, but Sean has another idea. Grabbing the rip the basketball and some spare mice costumes, he and his friend disguise the bell as a basketball, since he knows the cat relies on seeing something before it acts. They can confuse the cat and maybe get at least one shot up before time runs out. In a high-pressure situation, this is a really good thing. He's been paying attention to the cat's behavior, knows its weakness, and is perfectly exploiting it. But he made points. If I'd seen this room before, I would have used it more strategically. We can run inside for cover as a mouse, and come out safely as a student. There also might have been more basketballs in there to shoot and distract the cat with. The girl takes a shot, but the cat smacks it away, giving the one a chance to shoot the bell, but it bounces right off the lid, and there's not enough time to try again. Right at the last second, this student jumps over the cat's head and slams it into the hoop. Game. But the killing continues, as the hero of the hour starts killing the other students, believing they don't deserve to live because they're brainless losers. Okay, this guy is a psychopath, but he's also not wrong. Unfortunately, I'm not trusting him in a game because he's blinded by fanaticism instead of survival in the greater good. Carrying the law serves us no purpose. The more expendable people that are in the games, the more we can benefit from their deaths. Every game will require a certain amount of mistakes to learn how to play them. And these kinds of people are perfect for that. Let them make the mistakes, and we study the game's response, and then use that information to beat it. Then the cat blows sleeping gas at them, knocking them out. When Shun here wakes up, he finds himself in a room with an old classmate and some strangers. All 4 students have survived 2 games, the Daruma and the cat game. This guy activates a device, and the group finds out they're trapped in a giant floating cube with no way for anyone to break in and save them.
The government and military are powerless. Someone knocks on the door, and these 4 Kokeshi dolls enter the room. They're here to play Kagome Kagome, a game where the player wears a blindfold while the Kokeshi dolls sing as they circle around him, and you must guess who's behind him when the music stops. This guy guesses incorrectly and gets a laser to the head as the dolls take control of his body and start bashing his head against the floor. Then this girl goes after him, but she can't figure out who it is either, and gets ripped in half from the legs up. Okay, this one is tricky, because the premise leads you to assume it's a game of chance, like Russian roulette for children. So the strategy here is to eliminate as much chance out of the equation as possible. And we do this by gathering as much information as we can from every sense of perception we have available to us, and then using them to cheat the game. We can try to observe their starting order before putting the blindfold on. If we can confirm they form a circle in a specific gender pattern, our chances already improve. Next, we use our ears to track them by distinguishing the male voices from the female voices. If we know the pattern and locate a male's voice as it circles, it tells us the gender that is behind us when the music stops. Now all that's left is to determine which member of the gender it is. And now comes the cheating part of the strategy. Before I put the blindfold on, I would assign a number of taps for each doll. 1 tap for this one, and 4 taps for this one. When the doll stops singing, the other student in the room can tap the number for the doll and hopefully not get ripped apart from where the sun don't shine. When it's Shun's turn to play, he can't figure out who's behind him. They hear a doll tell him he's out of time, and another doll repeats it, but this was all a part of his plan. Realizing who just spoke, he deduces correctly which one is behind him. He tricked this doll by playing a recording of one of them saying you're out of time, baiting her into speaking and revealing the order of their positions around him. All the dolls explode into dust, and one of them drops the key they need to move to the next stage. The 2 survivors walk out of the room and see this guy come running at them, asking to hold their hand. Behind him, another doll is chasing them, and they all grab hands just in time. The monster doll inspects them, but leaves when it sees they're all linked together. Ichika comes running around the corner, and Shun manages to save her from the hand-holding monster just in time. They meet some other students as well, and discover that to beat this game, they need 7 students to turn 7 keys at the exact same time. They don't have enough of either, until that killer student from the cat game appears and has brought exactly what they need with an extra person to spare. And to no one's surprise, he eliminates him without remorse. Once again, foolish. I would use this extra kid as a lookout for the hand-holding doll, because we will need to stop holding hands in order to turn the keys. And if the hand-holding doll catches us unlinked, we might not be able to turn the keys in time. Everything is a resource here, and this guy is wasting them. I would confront him that this is a poor strategy, and that we can let the game kill him later. But he did just save our lives for the second time, so I'm not going to hold it against him too much. They all turn the keys at the same time, beating this game with 12 seconds left on the clock. Meanwhile, the Cube is live streaming their victory as everyone gathers in Shibuya Square to watch and cheer for them. The group go through and find themselves in a hot spring, except everything is frozen over. As soon as I see this environment, I'm staying against the walls. This looks like a lake that's frozen over, and I'm not leaving myself vulnerable to any traps without reason. I'm getting a head start in the game and encouraging the others to do the same. Suddenly, a giant polar bear comes surfing in and tells them that in this game, everyone will be asked a question that they need to answer truthfully. If they don't, they must choose someone to be killed. Okay, this sounds too easy to be true, and I'm not relaxing here. The real game is something hidden beneath the surface. We have to find out what's the trick. There's no incentive for anyone to lie, but surely they won't let us all pass through. I'm starting this one off by choosing not to trust a single word this polar bear says, expecting traps are double meaning, insinuation, or metaphor. We can't think literally, even when we're trapped in a giant cube and talking to a giant polar bear. The first question asked is, what is your favorite food? Which they all answer easily. But the bear suddenly freaks out because someone told a lie and threatens to kill them if they don't identify the liar in 2 minutes. The players decide that this guy must be it because his favorite food is parsley, and the bear crushes him to death. Now, I'm a classic overanalyzer, so this one would honestly scare the living shit out of me. The answer to this question is deceptively complicated because it's based on a general opinion and not objectively true. If I've had different favorite foods throughout the years, or a favorite in each food category, and if I change my mind after trying new dishes, how could I have one true answer to this question? So therefore, how could the polar bear know what the truth is if I myself do not? And this revelation is how we beat the game. If I don't know the truth, then neither does the polar bear. And none of us have any reason to lie. So when the polar bear says he knows someone is lying, that statement itself is a lie. And I would accuse him as a secret liar to beat the game. The bear tells them there's an imposter in the group who's intentionally lying to get them killed. This student realizes that everyone goes to the same school except for this girl, so she must be the imposter, and the polar bear stomps her flat. Now that's what I call a high school crush. But as the kid looks at the bear's paw, he sees a black patch of skin and realizes that this is a Japanese demon bear, as the snow melts off, revealing his true identity underneath. The group is taken to their new arena where these Matryoshka dolls appear, announcing this will be the final game. Kick the can. The rules are simple. Whoever is it must take the can and place it in this circle. Then try to catch the others by looking at their face, call out their name, and step on the can. Those captured can be freed if another player kicks the can, but the kicker must sacrifice his life because the can will explode. The game ends if the players avoid being captured, while the one who's it wins by capturing at least 3 players by the time the sun sets. Then they draw stakes to decide their roles, and the psychotic student is it. Everyone runs before the student kicks one of the dolls into the air, knocking the can to the ground and places it at the designated spot. Okay, hold on a second. Didn't they say that can would explode if it was kicked? This might mean it's not triggered by impact. It could be one of the game's tricks if we need to kick the can to save someone later. But more importantly, if I was it, I need to manage my time wisely, because finding people will be very time consuming, and I need to know how much time I have. The setting sun is too abstract, and I need to convert that into minutes. The best way to do this is to hold your fingers horizontally against the sky, in between the horizon and the sun. Each finger that fits in between the sun and the earth is approximately 15 minutes. The 2 boys try to hide as far away as possible, but the psycho student finds them first and beats them into submission. That's 2 down, 2 to go. Now, finding people who have already hidden will waste a lot of time. By retrieving the can first, you're giving everyone too much time. If it were me, I would skip the can and quietly follow them to their hiding spots first. Once someone's found a good hiding spot, it's unlikely they would move from it. And if I know where they're hiding, I can go retrieve the can and come back to their hiding spot and catch them. I would also prioritize who I should put in prison. The best person to follow is Shun, because he's going to hide with the girl. That way, I am more likely to catch 2 people at once. Shun has proven himself to think quickly on his feet and be heroic, while the other 2 are more cowardly. So if Shun here is locked up first, it's very unlikely anybody will become to save him. And as long as I get 3 captured, I win the game. There's only 2 players left. A psycho kid spots them and runs up the stairs. Shun escapes as the girl goes off to block the entrance, but he breaks through and captures her. Shun here is stuck trying to figure out what to do, as he's going to lose if he doesn't free the prisoners. Now, Shun's team did not strategize as well, but honestly, they have the best chance of surviving from the start. He has to see your face and call your name to capture you. By eliminating either of these 2 as a possibility, you can work the game to your advantage. So I would have covered my face with my jacket so he can't legally capture me as a prisoner. I would tell everyone to do this. No matter how much you're punched, kicked, or beaten, if you don't show your face, it will become impossible for him to win. Then there's no need for anyone to kick the can and sacrifice themselves because no prisoners will be taken. This is the best possible outcome. If someone does get caught, we can remove another win condition from him. When he's out finding people to capture, I would stay nearby to move the can and hide it. Even if he sees your face and says your name, you're not officially captured until he steps on the can. If they had thought about this from the beginning, they wouldn't be in this hopeless situation. But then Shun here sees this old suit of armor nearby, and he gets a clever idea. He leaves his hiding place dressed in rusty armor, like I give you tetanus just by looking at it. This is clever. One of the rules for being captured requires clear eye contact between a player and the person who was it. The helmet not only makes it harder, but the entire armor set might protect him from the explosion if he kicks the can. He's covered 2 weaknesses that gives him the advantage he needs to beat this game. But it's too hard to move, and there's no way he can find the student. He backs away to the edge and gets caught, but this was a part of his plan. He chains the psycho and throws himself off the wall, dragging the other boy along with him. As the student is busy trying to pull the armor up, he's escaped and climbing back over runs for the can. He kicks it, but it doesn't explode. His team wins, and the dolls reveal that they lied about the explosion. Now that it's all over, all of the players are given popsicles as a reward. But the girl finishes her ice cream and realizes that these popsicle sticks declare who gets to die. This was the secret final test. They only get the pass if luck is on their side. The unlucky players evaporate into magic powder, and the 2 winners are transported to the top of the white cube as people below celebrate their survival. But what do you think? How would you beat As the Gods Will? Let me know with a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. And check out the How to Beat playlist for more videos like this. Until next time, have a damn good day.
Yes,
monsters are turning into psychotic monsters ready to kill anyone they see. Inside and outside, they hunt during the day and the night. What do you do when you're stuck in your apartment with no food and where anyone can monsterize into a killing machine? I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat every single one of these monsters in Sweet Home. This gamer Hyun-soo is down on his luck and trying to live cheaply. But what he's not thinking about is security. This building is seriously broken down. There's cracked paint covering every inch. The main sign has an arm-sized hole through it, and his head nearly gets sliced off from a rusty old weed whacker. These might look like superficial flaws, but they reflect much deeper problems, because this place simply isn't safe. It won't keep things out, and it can't protect you well from within. And if this is our only security guard, who happens to be doubling as a superintendent, this building is vulnerable in all the wrong places. In his apartment, he gets offered a drink by the security guard, who starts looking through the peephole. He not only has a nosebleed, but this guy's acting weird as f***. Regardless, I would install extra bullocks on my door, because he has the keys to every apartment in this place, and I don't trust him at all. A week has passed and Hyun-soo here has been playing video games non-stop. He goes to pick up his shipment of instant noodles and sees that it's been ripped open with the trail of packets leading to his neighbor's apartment, a model living next door. He sees a cat's severed head roll into view before a hand grabs it. Backing away, he steps on a pack of noodles, the crunch alerting the monster. Okay, in moments like this, you will choose either fight or flight as the brain's amygdala takes over and your nervous system switches into full-on sympathetic response mode. For Hyun-soo here, it's flight, and I would do the same. You see something like this, lock your door and call the cops, which he actually does, but his signal is dead. Looks like we have to figure out how to deal with this on our own. Now, there's no clear indication if he's dealing with some bloodthirsty psycho or something supernatural. In situations like this, it's hard to trust your own senses, but he heard the voice saying hungry, so I might offer it food to leave me alone. Unfortunately, ramen doesn't seem to be appreciated, so unless you find another cat, we don't have a viable way to distract it or earn its trust. Another twist gets thrown into the mix as a doorbell rings. It says name for the model, and she's begging for help. And look, I gotta be real with you here for a second. It was at that moment my dumbass was mad at Hyun-soo for not letting this pretty girl in for safety while a monster is right next door. But be smarter than me here, guys. If a pretty woman knocks on your door and wants your help, something's wrong. Never happens, trust me. Asking to see her arms is smart, because if they look like this, maybe don't open the door. She gets mad and goes berserk, and we get the confirmation. She's the monster we saw earlier. But there's something else here we could easily miss that makes her an even bigger threat. This monster takes things personally. She can even manipulate and trick you, trying to act normal or trying to pretend there's an emergency. Once we've realized this, I'm not trusting a living soul in this building. We need to start thinking about how to get help. The phone signals are blocked, so at the very least, I would put a banner out my window using bed sheets and write a message that there's an emergency. But it's not just about us, because if this thing gets to other people, it might be more than just cats it wants to eat. We need to warn everyone we can for the safety of the entire building. Hyun-soo walks out into the hall where he sees this gangster coming down the stairs and suddenly collapses. This seems like it's from his instant noodle-only diet, but it's actually a sign of something much worse. Upstairs, the guitarist girl sees the same woman at her door, looking a little worse for wear, and it screams for her to open up. Okay, this monster has moved upstairs, and we can see this thing won't stop. It wants food now, and it's gone strong enough to punch clean through a metal door. We can't stay in the apartment forever, and it can break in with enough time. The first thing to do is collect whatever you have in the apartment that can be used as a weapon, or fashioned into one. Then we have to think about escape. They're lucky to have a camera on their front door, so they can see if the monster is nearby. I would throw something down the hallway as a loud distraction, and run downstairs to call the police. In the lobby, the other tenants discover that the shutters have been lowered, the security guard is missing, and their phones have no service. Also, all exits and entrances have been chain locked, meaning someone has trapped them here on purpose. There are a lot of people down here trying to leave. Padlocks can actually be snapped open using 2 wrenches and some leverage. We might find some in the security room, since the guard was also the superintendent. But if not, having more people gives us a better chance to escape, get help, or neutralize this monster. I would find out everyone's job and skill sets to see whether we should go after the thing ourselves. If everyone is a user's office worker, at least we could barricade the security guard's room and hide in it, with access to the cameras to watch the monster's movements. This med student breaks the chains to the management office, where inside one of the tenants, who is a firefighter, tries calling for help, but all the lines are busy with disaster alerts, and the call cuts out. Okay, these guys don't know there's a monster in the building yet, so I might first think this was a natural disaster like a typhoon or tsunami. But because of where South Korea is in the Northwest Pacific Basin, tsunamis and cyclones are very rare compared to surrounding countries. If all the hellbloods are down, we shouldn't be trying to leave until we learn more. And if there's a citywide threat, this building is the most valuable thing we have. Also, this woman is a firefighter, so she has a better understanding than most about emergency evacuation and emergency protocol. I would make sure she was a part of all planning and decision making from here on out. The shopkeeper starts pressing buttons, and the front door shutter begins opening. But the tenants in the lobby see a very tall creature standing just outside, and this dog is not happy about it. I can't blame them too much for trying to get out, but once we see this very not human thing standing there, it confirms our suspicions that there's a citywide emergency, and we need to turn this building into a safe zone. The student sprays the monster away with a fire extinguisher until he gets it past the shutters. He closes way too slowly and he runs out of gas. This guy was smart to use the fire extinguisher because it's projectile. There isn't much of this building that doesn't require close combat of some kind, and that would be a losing strategy with this kind of monster. One thing has become immediately clear. With this many monsters, help will not be coming, and we're on our own. We've closed the shutters, but it might not be enough here. His tongue can extend really far, and if he was really hungry, he could approach closer to reach inside easily. We need to plan for the worst, so I'd be trying to narrow the holes in the front gate by unwinding metal close hooks and wrapping them diagonally across the holes in the gate. It's all metal, and if it's wrapped tightly enough, it could provide a little more security. Meanwhile, upstairs, the guitarist girl has been taking care of Hyun Soo since he passed out, and he is not in good shape. She leaves to check out the noise and never notices social media is blowing up with the top 3 trending topics being monster, state of alert, and nosebleed. She goes down the stairwell where the drunk is muttering to himself, and when she passes by, she sees his nose bleeding like crazy. There's something really wrong with this guy. Alright, this girl has already seen a monster, and it nearly bashed her door in. So if I'm seeing someone acting like this, I'm not wasting a second. The first instinct is to swing for the head, but this is not the right thing to do. She's 3 to 4 steps lower than him, which is a very difficult angle to strike. And contact with the head can be easily blocked, if it even reaches at all. In this situation, we should swing for the knees. He won't be able to block, we'll get a fast and direct swing, and it will knock him down, giving us another chance to strike. Another tenant enters the stairwell, sees the drunk guy turn into a monster, and chops the guy's head clean in half with a samurai sword. Okay, this is an important takeaway. These things have physical bodies, and they can be killed like any living thing. Now, it's easy to be sympathetic, but if we want to survive, we need a killer instinct. Like this guy here, who takes one of them out like he's playing Yakuza 6. But brute strength won't always do the job, so we need weapons. Kitchen knives are a good place to start, but close combat is not going to give you the best advantage. And nearly everyone in this building has no weapons training, so we'll need something easier to wield without experience. The roof would be good to scout for scrap metal, pipes, poles, or wooden planks that could be used. Baseball is a popular sport in Korea, so there could be bats in other apartments. But clearly, it would be better to kill them when they're still more human than monster, because they get back up more dangerous than before. Downstairs, the tenants are barricading the entrance when everyone's phones receive a notification about an epidemic. Anyone exhibiting nosebleeds, blackouts, and aggressive behavior should be quarantined. They're all nervous. This group didn't understand until now that this was a sickness. They can catch it, and they argue about where they should go. The basement parking lot is shuttered, and the apartments aren't secure. I would want to stay downstairs where we have more operational control and send teams to scout certain floors for food, resources, and weapons, using the ground floor as a base. The next day, Hyun Soo the gamer wakes up and sees the city is in ruins, when all of a sudden, he starts bleeding from the nose like that woman, and he'll turn into a monster just like she did. Looking for answers, he researches the illness on a blog called Kurukuru, and the med student has found the website too. They learn that the writer himself was infected, and he described it as a curse, with an unknown cause and no cure. But if they want to live, there's something they should know. Both tenants are about to discover what that is, but the internet cuts out.
Welcome to a place where anything can happen. A stratosphere beyond the red zone. After Mahomes is defined the laws of physics. Welcome to the Mahomes zone, where there are no limits. An experience that defies physics. With infinite imagination opens up the field of pain. Patrick Mahomes is a game changer. No, there's no boundary. Are you kidding me? Yes, the universe of possibility. Touchdown, Patrick Mahomes. Have you ever seen anything like this?
God, I hate it when that happens. With everything that's going on that's putting your life at risk, it's easy to overlook some important resources, power, and the internet. An unmanaged power station will provide 4 to 6 hours of electricity before blackouts occur. South Korea has nuclear power plants, which will last longer as it is more automated, but it's only supplied to certain areas and will eventually give out as well. And for him, this means no video surveillance of the front door. The internet will be gone even faster, as the system would be overloaded with the activity of panicking citizens. We need to use these tools and gain as much information as possible before they're gone. If this is happening everywhere in the city, there might be information about what to do, how to beat them, what their vulnerabilities are, and if the government is going to help. It's been 8 hours since Hyun-soo here collapsed, and he's feeling hungry after all our research. He opens the door to grab a box of instant noodles, but the drum from the stairwell has come back to life as a monster. Okay, obviously, we shouldn't be opening our doors on a whim, but once it's inside, we either need to fight it or lock him in the apartment. It might seem smarter to lock him in, because it guarantees your safety in the moment, and keeps him from roaming the halls, but it's not the right decision, because this may be the best chance we get at killing this thing. We can't just use a pole and bash at them. This monster has a special ability. He can't see, but he can hear like you wouldn't believe. I would take the sharpest object within reach and stab him in the ear, so he can't see or hear now, making him easier to kill in a fight. That way we can keep the apartment, and the building might have one less monster. Hyun-soo goes to option 3 and stays quiet, and the monster leaves. Lucky. Very lucky. Later, he looks at the window and sees a father about to rappel down the side of the building. The man gets attacked by an eyeball monster and falls to his death as his kids cry out for help. The gamer throws his computer monitor at the eyeball and it comes up to attack him. These monsters are not limited to the human form, and obviously we got to go for its weakness, which is the eye, but it's not going to be enough. It can stretch its neck and it's strong, but this means we might be able to trap it. I would try to make it follow me through the hallway to stretch its neck further into the building and down the stairs. If I can get it stuck, it will be easier to trap and injure. This guy shoots at it with an air cannon that he fashioned out of a crutch, which is awesome. But it's clearly exposed that we can't always guarantee to kill these things, even if we sever their heads. So fighting them won't always be a solution, unless we have a lot more power to disintegrate them completely. And from this point forward, fire might be the best way to go. The veteran has another piece of valuable information. Phone calls make noise, then cut out when a monster is nearby. By staying on call, disturbances can help give you an early warning. We can use this to clear the building. You can go floor by floor and determine which ones have monsters, and either seal them off or kill them. Stay on call, keep your batteries charged, and don't go anywhere without it. Hyun-soo here meets him in person, and the veteran upgrades his weapon. It turns out the man is an amazing mechanic and tells him to go save the kids. This guy should be fashioning weapons for every man, woman, and child. We need to think like we're soldiers at war against these monsters, and he's our blacksmith. And since we can solder metal, I would take apart a row of doors and solder them together to permanently seal off a stairwell to trap any monsters or higher floors. Hyun-soo, the gamer, sneaks through the building and nearly avoids the blind monster. He reaches the kids to rescue them, but suddenly he starts showing symptoms, and he tells the kids to run away, but it's too late. He's a monster now. Or is he? Hyun-soo seems to snap out of his hallucination, just in time to get knocked down by a giant creature. But in a super anime moment, Hyun-soo holds the monster back and yells at the kids to run before he gets beat into a wall. Something is definitely going on with Hyun-soo. Somehow they've managed to survive long enough for a tenant with a sword to come and slice this protein beast. He and the guitarist drag Hyun-soo to safety. They see his eyes go from black to normal. So he has a monster. That's bad. But for now, he can't control it, and even if it's risky, it kind of gives us a chance at fighting these things, because he might have extra strength like they did, or a special ability we can take advantage of. The children continue to make their way upstairs, but the blind monster suddenly appears and blocks their way. They try to stay quiet, but the beefcake is back and reaches out for them. Their screams of terror alert the blind monster, who attacks the other one, and the two kids run out of the way. About time something goes our way in this building of terror. This is a clear indication we can exploit each monster's tendencies in our favor. The blind monster will attack Noise, and the beefcake will fight back, meaning Noise can be used as a lure to get the blind monster killed. The swordsman comes up with a plan and leads it through the complex. He reaches the end of a corridor and jumps out of the way, baiting the beefcake, then jump out the window. Okay, these things die hard, but they can definitely be injured. Every monster will have its own unique weaknesses, and we need to start looking for them to survive this place. So the main strategy is to make them immobile. No arms or legs will make for a reasonably harmless monster. And for Beefcakes here, who's got too much muscle to fight conventionally, slashing his Achilles tendon will make him unable to walk. It's simple biomechanics of anthropomorphic anatomy. We find out that the building lost power, and that the firefighter girl volunteered to go down to the electrical room to try to turn it back on. But she got set up by the med student, who knew there was a monster down there. This guy is cold and tactical, and he's not wrong, but this firefighter is extremely valuable to the group. I would have been upfront with her, because she's built to fend for herself. She's even saved everyone's lives in the building, and Now he's totally throwing her under the bus. The med student makes an announcement for all survivors to come downstairs where it's safe, but then the radio goes offline. Gathering people is good, but we have to have smart allocation of resources and skills. There is actually more upside to having two bases, one upstairs and one downstairs. The lobby base camp can ration food and relay it to the apartment base, while the strongest and bravest stay to clear the monsters, save more people from their apartments, and scavenge for food and supplies. Back in the lobby, this woman is trying to break out the building to find her daughter, but then they see a girl running towards them. She stumbles and limps her way to her mother as the med student tries to figure out what to do. Okay, this sounds heartless, but we don't know if this girl is infected or not, and it's adding another risk to the building. You have to ask yourself what is more likely, that she survived all night outside with all these monsters around, or that she's infected. It wouldn't be a popular decision to lock her out, so I would let her in, but immediately lock her up in an apartment to monitor for nosebleeds and any signs of turning so we can kill her quickly if necessary. The soldier runs out to save her, but they both get run through and killed by the long-tongued monster. God, this thing is brutal. The student starts putting the barricade back up and barely avoids the monster's tongue piercing through as the shutter begins to close. After defeating the beefcake, the group spent the night at the veteran's apartment. By the next day, the guitarist and the swordsman are prepared to leave for the first floor, with the infected Hyun Soo deciding to join them. The soldier gives the swordsman a shield to take with him, and he's made it out of a door. This is incredible work, but right now I'm starting to think about if there's a better way to fight these monsters than with swords and shields. This guy should be making traps for us, because even if the monsters are strong and have special abilities, they aren't exactly smart.
You play AFK Arena?
Yeah, why not?
What's your combat rating?
3,500 to make it.
How many heroes?
Oh, lots of them. Developers often give away free stuff. When you first summon Lady, you'll definitely get an elite hero. You'll definitely upgrade your team with the reward you get. Let's see how you're doing.
AFK Arena. Play now for free.
You want him plain and simple. Beat Beardolf Fallhammer. Beardolf's skill in Sorcerer Axe makes it impossible for enemies to heal. Team him up with high damage dealers, and the Fire Knight shield won't mean a thing. Beardolf usually counters too. Want to attack him? You better expect him to hit back. Take down the Fire Knight with Beardolf Fallhammer and Raid Shadow Legend. Install now and play for free.
Things like bear traps, tiger traps, and snares would all be easy for this guy to make, and could go a long way in keeping us safe and dealing with the monsters more intelligently. Down in the basement, a spider-like monster goes to attack the cocoon and finds it empty. The firefighter has escaped through the ventilation shaft. This was really her only option, because the room with the cocoon was locked. Don't try to fight this thing without help, because it has more range and can move better than you, plus every leg has a huge stinger that can pierce through metal. But if it's taken the form of a spider, it might have the vision of a spider, which is surprisingly terrible. They rely on touch and vibration more than sight, despite having 8 eyes. I might try using this to my advantage. I would take something from this room with me first, like the wire, and instead of running through the ventilation, making vibrations, I'd look for a T-junction in the vents, use the wire to cause vibrations away from me, and stay still and quiet on the opposite side. She breaks a vent fan to lower herself into another room, but the spider catches her. Thinking quickly, she breaks a window and grabs a broken shard, sawing through the webbing to escape. The tenants find out that martial law has been declared and the military is in control. They're told the infection doesn't spread through the air or blood, but it's related to human design, and anyone exhibiting symptoms of nosebleeds, fainting, or hallucinations should be locked up. These creatures are durable and heal very fast, but they do have 2 weaknesses. They can be damaged and killed during a period of time called a golden hour, and secondly, they can be burned to death. But dealing with this means we're killing them while they're still in human form, and that can get emotionally very ugly. I would designate a person in each base camp to be officially in charge of these executions, so that there isn't a situation where people who aren't mentally prepared for something extreme like this allow another person to turn into a monster. And it needs to be brought to the group for a vote, because if everyone isn't on board, everyone's lives are at risk. Meanwhile, the gamer and his crew find a dead body, and it's Warren. This is really bad news for them, because it means he's been killed very recently and that a monster could be near. They don't see one, but on their way down, something knocks the guy down the stairwell and he takes a deadly fall, splatting onto the floor. He wakes up in another room where the med student tells him he's been asleep for 8 hours, and it's obvious that this kid has been infected. Okay, this guy can somehow survive deadly falls. Heal quickly. If he's on our side, there's no way I'm not going to try to use this as an advantage against the monsters. We've established with Beefcakes here that some of these monsters are too dangerous to fight, but he clearly doesn't have the same risks as us. I would use him to lure monsters into traps, because the worst case scenario is he ends up back in the medbay for 8 hours. The shopkeeper throws a fit and screams that they need to kill him, then his nose starts bleeding. Yeah, what was it you were saying, old man? Downstairs, the gamer is told by the med student they need him to do dangerous jobs for the tenants. His first task is to bring the soldier down here to help reinforce the barricade, but he's told to leave the kids if something goes wrong. I hate to say it, but he's right. Kids are our future, but right now we won't even have one unless we defeat these monsters. So anyone who can contribute to that cause comes second. These kinds of unpopular, practical decisions are for the greater good. The firefighter isn't happy. The soldier, the gamer can move fast. As long as he's strong enough to resist the infection, he can be their ultimate weapon. I have no problem with this whatsoever. We need these people as resources because everyone has unique skills. He's a risk to have around groups of people, so he's best put to use to scavenge, run errands, and do things the others can't do. The med student tells the woman about the Crew blog and what he read on it. She remembers her fiance had a blog on Crew before he died, and he didn't want her to know about it. She knows it must be the same one, but why would her husband know anything about this infection? Yun-Soo and the gangster are walking up the stairwell where the man is suddenly grabbed by a giant hand. Yun-Soo here chases after him and gets knocked down by a super fast monster with giant legs. It sprints towards the kid, but someone shoots it with a crossbow bolt and it runs away. This old man and his nurse appear and rescue the 2 survivors. They're lucky to get some help, because this monster might be the toughest one yet. If it's so fast you can't even react to it, how do you kill it? That night, the veteran reinforces the barricades, and they're gonna need it badly, because the tongue monster gets grabbed by a massive hand as something lets out a roar. The next day, the guitar starts bleeding from her nose. The tenants are horrified to find out she's infected. They sound the alarm, and the swordsman leads her to a net trap they've set up. The firefighter realizes this infection can be caught by anyone, and remembers her husband's Kuru blog. She must know what happened, and decides to head out on this motorcycle to his old workplace. It's risky, but she can find answers that tell us what we need to know about the infection. I wouldn't want her to leave, though, because she's too valuable to the planning, safety, and defense of the group. It might be better to send the gangster, who is strong enough to defend himself in the wild, and he would help if there was something in it for him. Things are getting more dangerous for the group. Others are getting infected, and monsters are still in the building. The structure is important in survival settings. We have to be on guard 24/7, and it requires organization, cooperation, and discipline. They create 4 main rules for everyone to follow. Rule 1. Move together in groups of 2 or more, and report anything unusual immediately. This is so vital, and it's also very common sense. Being alone is almost never a good option in survival scenarios. You're always safer with company, either defend or get help. Rule 2. Eat once a day and only the amount prescribed. Resources need to be rationed, and not everyone is going to go along with this. It's going to be resistant, and it needs to be enforced, but as fairly and as democratically as possible. Things should be voted on. That's a great way to have everyone buy into cooperating with the group. Rule 3. Everyone will have their temperature checked every night at 8 p.m. If someone gets sick, they'll want to keep it a secret, so we can't trust anyone. A hard rule to check for infection won't let anyone slip through the cracks. You can catch a potential threat more quickly, keeping everyone more safe. Rule 4. Quarantine the infected. Obviously, they shouldn't be near the healthy, because they could turn. This kid is an exception, but even still, how do we know he's not going to get dangerous and violent at some point? We don't. Not until the symptoms have been studied in other cases. I would still lock him down until enough time had passed that I was sure he's not a threat to us anymore. Hyun-Soo the gamer goes upstairs to scavenge more supplies, but he knows the Sprinter monster is still around and has an idea. He sets up multiple springs and fishing line to act as an alarm while he searches the apartments. He hears his alarm go off and falls to the ground as the Sprinter monster comes running into the room. Now the scene ends and we never see them fight, which is really strange, but okay. We can't fight this thing normally because he's so fast you won't be able to react to him to fight or protect yourself. But he still relies on the laws of friction to launch himself forward. And simply by reducing friction, we can slow this guy down. Instead of alarm balloons, I'm greasing up the floors with oils, dish soap, KY jelly, anything I could find to make it impossible to run. And because he's going so fast, if he slips, he's going to crash hard. I would also line the hallways with steel wire. These things together make the building impossible to run through. Downstairs, the tenants are emptying bottles and creating Molotov cocktails. They hear one of the women blow her whistle as something lumbers towards her. They all rush out and the shopkeeper's wife realizes this thing is her husband and she insists on killing it herself. Okay, there's no TV anymore and this is the best entertainment they can get. But it's not safe. They should use the buddy system so that someone is there with a weapon for backup if she can't handle herself. I honestly don't even know why they would wait long enough for this guy to wander out on his own. They should have killed him long before this, or contained him until he was showing symptoms of transformation and ended from within the confinement area. The firefighter reaches her fiance's office and finds his research notes from the crew block. He had become infected and was trying to resist for 15 days. As his condition would have stabilized, he would become a special infected. That's when the military shows up and takes the woman hostage. She cuts a deal with the commander, offering the infected Hyun Soo someone who can resist monsterization in exchange for her life. Back in the apartment, the whole complex is powerless. The water is going to be cut off soon. The food is running out. Power being out is bearable, but running out of drinking water is a problem they need to solve immediately. It's always important to be thinking further ahead than anyone else when it comes to resource management in a survival situation. The city's water and sewage is relatively automated using gravity to its advantage, so it would likely be available longer than electricity, but getting access to new sources of food and water will force you outside. There are hundreds of abandoned supermarkets across the city to scavenge, and it's the best place to start, but before it ever gets this bad, we have soil here, so we should start planting vegetables as soon as we realize this is an apocalyptic scenario. Gardening obviously takes time, but it's at least the path forward to free, sustainable food. Later, Hyun Soo here is told that the tenants have to leave soon, as they're low on resources with no guarantees of their safety. He's sent down to scout the parking lot, where something knocks him over and hangs him upside down. They see this on the camera and go down to help. As they walk through, they see the Sprinter monster standing there, unresponsive. The med student assumes to sleep, and they carefully walk the other way. These monsters actually sleep, which is literally a survival mechanism for the brain and body to maintain functioning and run smoothly. If it wasn't necessary for survival, the species would have evolved out of it, and that hasn't happened ever. I take account of the time, because it could mean they have biological clocks that make them more likely to sleep at this time of the day or not, and choose to scavenge the building or even go outside only during those hours. But right now, this is their best and only chance to stealth kill a Sprinter monster, and I would have taken the opportunity. The squad finds the gamer in a cocoon and frees him, but the guitarist drops her back, waking up the Sprinter. The med student cleverly uses the car alarms to distract the Sprinter. Its greatest strength is its speed, and so if you know where it will be going, like a triggered car, you could ambush it. However, this also wakes up any other monsters in the vicinity and puts your whole group in jeopardy. So retreat is a good option until we can take them out one at a time or have enough backup to fight them, something the old man does with his kick-ass flamethrower. Upstairs, the veteran is running for his life, but it's not going to be an option for him, and it's too dangerous to fight, which leaves trapping as the best solution. But you'll only have one shot, and you can't let it escape. The legs are the most dangerous part of this monster, so we need to take them out of the equation in order to beat it. This trap was a great idea because if the spider is suspended, it can't use its legs, and we can either try to kill it or run away. The problem with their strategy was thinking they could do this with this tiny little rope and a couple of screws. The monster must weigh less than this fridge, or about 120 kilograms, because tipping it pulls the spider off the ground. And judging by the frame here, I would guess it's a natural fiber rope less than 2 centimeters in diameter, which has a lower tensile strength than synthetic fibers. Even if it can hold up the monster, it's not going to last long, and they should have strengthened the rope by braiding it, or used stronger screws so it can't break the metal frame off the wall. The other tenants try to rescue him before Hyun Soo appears and kills it. The next day, the nurse, the gangster, and Hyun Soo here get ready to scavenge for more supplies. But as they're pulling out of the parking lot, the car suddenly gets flipped over. The gamer Hyun Soo wakes up and sees the beefcake monster has grown gigantic ever since it left out of the building, and there's nothing he can do with his spear. Okay, this is in no way a fair fight. We'll never take it down in combat, so my thinking is if we can't fight it from the outside, maybe we can kill him from the inside. It takes 3 milligrams of fentanyl, which is only this much to kill him in. If we're already going out for food and water at this point, we should be checking the local hospitals for drugs as well, and fentanyl is the way to go. I would inject the beefcake about as much as I could get my hands on by sticking several needles into the monster and might just have a shot. The old man throws Molotov cocktails at the monster and sets it on fire, but it's useless. He runs over to help the gamer Hyun Soo, but as he's carrying him, his nose begins to bleed, and the monster is back for revenge. A fire truck crashes into the beefcake and pushes it off the ledge before pushing flaming debris onto the creature and setting it on fire. Things have returned back to normal, but the shopkeeper's wife reveals that she's starting to have symptoms and needs to leave for their safety, but the other tenants don't want her to go and vote for her to stay. On the bottom floor, one of the tenants sees the elevator come down and hears the alarm bells start ringing throughout the building. The doors open and the monsterized security guard steps out. The security guard goes ballistic and starts fighting the swordsman, but his sword arm gets chopped off. He won't quit, and taking his broken sword, stabs the security guard in the chest and drags the creature into the elevator, where he orders the others to throw a Molotov and burns to death inside. Okay, this is brutal. We've lost our best fighter to the lamest monster ever, and I would be seriously pissed. His weapon has blades, but it also has a pull to grab. That makes it easier to fight him off. I would have had everyone attack him at the same time, because he can be flanked from behind, and the weed whacker can be held down as they all help kill him. It highlights an important point though. Always clear the place out. They should have sent bands of fighters to sweep the place floor by floor, but they didn't, and now, this is the consequence. The old man asks the firefighter for help finding a secret tunnel that's in the building, but then his attention is drawn to an APC driving over a bridge. The armored car breaks through the apartment's barricade, and these bandits with stolen gear come out. If I see this car driving through the wall, I know it's only interested in killing others, because it's ruined the structure of the building, making it vulnerable to monsters from outside, so they don't want the building, they want us. I'm rushing quickly to the truck and hiding beneath it. The smoke hasn't cleared, and it's the last place they would look for someone. All the tenants are rounded together in the lobby, but this guy draws the outline for the new jail, and the leader demonstrates that anyone outside of it will be shot. I'll bet they're regretting killing the beefcake, because if he was still around, he'd take care of these guys for us. The bandits suddenly get ambushed by the firefighter, lead them on a chase to the building as the rest join in the fight. That's when the shopkeeper's wife arrives, fully transformed. She kills one of the bandits and is about to stab the student, but the gamer saves his life. The kid strangles her to death and collapses from a stab wound. The bandit leader realizes that the boy's infected and has his men burn the shopkeeper's wife as he takes them into the elevator. The firefighter frees the other tenants, but another bandit stops them in their tracks. He shoots the veteran, but she eventually kills him. However, the old man realizes the veteran's nose is bleeding. Upstairs, it's not looking good for Hyun-soo. They get ready to execute him, but today is his lucky day. One of the bandits kills the others and admits he's a monster just like Hyun-soo is, except he believes that it's natural for them to kill humans. When the gamer walks out of the elevator, he finds himself in a standoff with the other survivors. He's able to convince them to spare the infectee's life. The truth is, they wouldn't be able to kill him anyways. You see what happens when you shoot him with bullets. All they do is bounce right back. Hyun-soo just saved all the tenants' lives in this interaction. This guy is the most dangerous man in the building, and he can't be killed. So right now, our best solution is to escape. Everyone must be working in shifts to help the old man find a tunnel, because as long as we're trapped in the building with this guy, he holds all the cards. Nurse begins having an asthma attack, and the gangster tries to take her to a pharmacy, but he's knocked out by the monster. Hyun-soo here lets them continue to make their way out, but the infectee shoots both of them. Man, this guy is seriously bad news. Defending his friends, he fights the monster, who tells him that this isn't his true form, and his special ability is to take control of dead bodies. He severely wounds the gamer, but Hyun-soo begins to transform, growing a massive wing. The guitarist gets ready to throw a Molotov, but a Molotov cocktail isn't gonna do a damn thing, and we all know it. We might be able to shoot the gas tank of the car, causing a big explosion, but if it doesn't do the job, we've made 2 enemies instead of 1. So this isn't a good idea, and we should give Hyun-soo here the benefit of the doubt, while staying as far away from it as possible. He kills the monster, but then heads for the tenants, but the now-hit veteran stops him just before he dies, as the kid turns back to normal and blacks out. The firefighter digs graves for the dead, but she discovers a hatch to a secret tunnel. It must be the one the old man was looking for. That night, soldiers arrive. They have the building surrounded and announce they want the special infectee, Hyun-soo. The soldiers hear an explosion and begin shooting, scaring the tenants into the tunnel. But Hyun-soo here decides to step outside to confront the soldiers. The next day, the group finds an exit and climbs out, only to be surrounded by the Korean military. The commander tells the firefighter that the deal isn't over yet, because she didn't deliver Hyun-soo to them in exchange for information on her fiancé. She's forced to join them, and the survivors are taken away on a military truck. Surprisingly, Hyun-soo is still alive, waking up in an armored car, driven by the gangster who no longer has any scars. It must be the body-searching monster. He never killed him, and now he's trapped as he drives through the tunnel and into the open world. Well, what do you think? How would you be the monsters in Sweden? Let me know for comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and check out the How You Get This for more videos like this. Until next time, have a damn good day.
Rogue striker drone detected. Rogue incinerator turret detected.
Testing. Okay. Crappy audio, but I got it. Shit.
Immediate medical assistance needed.
Damn it. Get that guy first. Ooh, shit. That does not look good. Oh, fuck.
Science is good.
Try this again. All right.
Server terminal detected. System curtailed. System back online. System functioning. System restored. System disrupted. Immediate medical assistance needed.
Damn it.
System back
Just do the dab and die.
online.
First floor.
streaming?
Huh?
Are you streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
System malfunctioning. System reactivated.
Wanna die too? No problem.
System. Accessing server. Fuel terminals detected nearby. System back online. System malfunctioning. System reactivated. System curtailed. System restored. System disrupted. System reactivated. System malfunctioning.
Second floor clear. Alright.
Shape tech detected. Rogue assault turret detected. Rogue sniper turret detected. Vital signs critical.
Yeah, there's no way I can get out of that.
Killed.
Back to floor 1.
Rogue striker drone detected.
That's pretty hard. That's pretty hard. Even for normal. There I go, now I can see my face.
Safe area detected.
Ooh. Uh. Assault ranking. Survival damage? No. Yeah. This one and assault rifle. As well as sidearms. I need this. EMP grenades. Need that. Take all this. This one. Skill healing. Nope, I don't need that. Skill damage, I do. Pulse resistance. Maybe. Alright, aiming a skill. Yeah, sure.
I get so much spiders. It says somewhere there.
There you go. Oh yeah, I still had to kill this guy.
If you don't like that chest, you're still freaky. At least I'm telling you to get things one first.
Ooh. Ooh, what is this? I got a legendary. Rebecca Chambers pants. Cute.
Target is nearby.
Find the fucking cover, bro.
Target spotted, Sheriff.
Rogue blinder firefly detected. Rogue shock trap detected. Rogue blinder firefly detected.
Moving to a better position. They flank. Take them out. Division agent targeted.
Come on!
Fury is stronger.
I've.
Agent vital signs.
Fuck! That's so fucking dumb. Hold on, let me touch my backpack.
Target near you. Detected. Nearby location. Guarded by hostiles. Hostile broadcast detected.
This area? Yep, it is. Oh well, I fucked. I'm fucked.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Vital signs critical.
How the fuck are you hitting me?
Agent deceased.
So stupid. I'm behind cover. I'm getting shot. I'm taking hits. The fuck is that? I just can't even.
The target is nearby. Hostiles guarding location nearby.
Hmm?
Immediate medical assistance needed. Vital signs critical.
I'm fucked.
Serious trauma detected.
Shooters got you covered.
My visual is locked. Over here! No sweat.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent vital signs 0.
Damn it.
Detected. Nearby location. Guarded by hostiles.
Target is near you, Agent.
Wait a minute, now we're using one of the... Is that what's happening? So even if I did switch it off, hold on, like this, and it still goes up, okay.
Hostiles guarding location nearby. Serious trauma detected. Agent vital signs 0.
Just like that, babies. Fucking dead.
The target is nearby.
Detected. Nearby location guarded by hostiles.
Oh, that's a nice skin. How long totally again? 1 week, 4 days, 3 hours.
Hostiles guarding location nearby.
the target, Agent.
Firefly detected.
I'll make it quick.
Serious trauma detected.
You get it. We're the same. You're a patriot. You served your country same as me. We've seen what can happen when a weak leader rises to power. We have. And I know that we can't rely on the government to save us. This thing moves too fast. You have to be agile. The wheels of government roll too slowly for something like this. Instead of use a scalpel, what we need is a sledgehammer. I can be that hammer.
Cleaning up the streets one bad guy at a time. Nicely done, Sheriff.
Force multiplier. Oh shit, why not? Got 2 more bounties and
Friendly combatants detected.
Target is near you, Agent.
Friendly combatants nearby.
Flame of justice.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent killed.
$7:43. Why am I stretching so damn much?
Friendly supply convoy in proximity.
Thanks. We should be fully stocked now.
Target near you.
Supply drop nearby. Hostiles are opening a supply drop. Incoming hostiles detected. Friendly control point nearby. Supply drop claimed. Detecting additional hostile contacts. Agent in need of backup. Incoming hostiles detected. Serious trauma detected. Hostiles opening a supply drop. Detecting additional hostile contacts. Incoming hostiles detected. Detecting additional hostile contacts.
Target is near you, Agent.
Supply drop claimed. Friendly supply convoy detected. All crates are now empty. Supply drop successful. Hostage health is critical. Hostage is dead. Vital signs critical. Incoming hostiles detected.
Target is nearby.
detected. The control point in proximity.
Target neutralized. Good work. That's another one down. Good job, Agent.
Supply drop detected.
Alright, gonna get one more bounty and then give the rest of the thing to them. Got enough room for this, bro?
We got plenty of resources.
Alright. I need 22 more to go. I'm gonna go down to that bounty and get him. Oh shit.
Spotted, Sheriff.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Incoming backup request.
You got the target. Nice.
Gonna kill you! I'm not good, you good!
Cleaning up the streets one bad guy at a time. Nicely done, Sheriff.
Friendly combatants detected.
I hope nothing comes
Thanks
along
for
to
your
stir
help.
things up
We
today.
should be good for a while. Flies.
Friendly combatants nearby.